Let's start with somebody who most definitely already is. 6 foot 10 inch, 240-pound Bam Adebayo.
Bam, 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 bam! Bam Adebayo from the University of Kentucky.
How did you get the nickname Bam?
When I was younger, I was playing in the house and my mom was watching the Flintstones, and I guess I copied what he did, and that's how it started.
Bam. Okay.
So now you know about the name, but what about Bam's game? Why did the Heat draft him? First, his size.
As you can see, I don't know what young players are eating nowadays.
Secondly, his athleticism.
I am still stunned by a young man this large and athletic and explosive that can move his feet.
And thirdly, his workout at American Airlines Arena, which blew away the Heat.
It was a wow workout. But you see that when you watch him on film. There's a lot of wow plays.
The workout and the film study are drawing some lofty comparisons. Adebayo compares himself to Kevin Garnett, but Pat Riley sees another former superstar.
I remember when I was coaching back in LA, and Jerry West called me on the phone, and he said, I want you to come over to Loyola. I'm going to be working out a player. And I went over there, and it was an 18-year-old high school kid by the name of Sean Kemp. And when I saw him in our gym here, I leaned over to Chet, and I said, he reminds me of Sean Kemp.
So that's the on-the-court stuff. But one of the biggest traits that sold the Heat on Bam is who he is as a person.
When we sat and talked to him, for an hour, it's just, you get sort of blown away by his story and his background and his motivation.
Bam's story, his motivation, is his mother.
When I was young, she was a single parent, so we lived in a single-wide trailer. She was a cashier, and as a young man, you never want to see your mom struggle. So I worked my tail off when I got here, so my mom would never struggle again.
That motivation has inspired an outstanding work ethic, one the Heat took note of when he stayed late after his workout, working on his game when everybody else had left the floor.
We went about an hour and a half. We had already seen enough after 20 minutes, but he wanted to stay out there. He was the last one in the gym. We noticed things like that. Everybody else cleared out, walked downstairs, and on to the next thing, and he was still working on his game, taking advantage of the open gym time.
Now, I've only been here 3.5 years, not nearly as long as you, but I have never seen Eric Spoelstra gush over a player the way he was gushing over Bam Adebayo.
You could see why. He is a physical specimen. And you could also understand why, though, Clay. And let's look at the flip side. Why a lot of Heat fans thought, what? Why? And this isn't a knock on Adebayo. This is just I think there was a consensus of 14, 15 guys going into the draft, and everyone figured the Heat will get one of those guys. Bam wasn't one of them. So you had to kind of take a step back, and I did the same thing. I had heard of him. I'd obviously seen him play at Kentucky, but I didn't know much about his game. So when his name popped up, it caught me by surprise. But when you look at the tools, the size, the strength, the smarts you just mentioned, the background, you could see why the Heat love this guy, and you could see why they have big plans for him. I think initially people thought, oh, is this guy just a backup center forward? No, I think the Heat had envisioned this guy being a true rotation player as a rookie, but particularly as a guy down the road that can play and be productive for this team.
If you get on Twitter and you check my timeline 2 hours before the draft, I put a list of 13 names up. And I said, if any one of these 13 guys are there when the Heat pick at 14, they should take that player and be happy. All 13 of those players were gone in the first 13 picks.
And on the flip side, Bam was one of the Heat's 13. He wasn't like the outside looking, and they truly believed he was a top 10 talent.
And I think what happened was everybody had their heart set on one of those names. And then once all 13 of those guys were gone, then it was like, okay, well, anybody that they could have picked, somebody would have found fault with. In hindsight now, when you look at this guy, it was a no-brainer.